You know what would be
So-
interesting? Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Say your
I
piece,
wanna
and then
bring
I'm
up
going to bring up
something
something.
Yeah, I want to bring up what Chad's saying here with some things. Like Bad News Bear says, map needs to be bigger or base movement speed needs to be decreased on all characters. The issue with lowering movement speed is dashes become stronger. Not only do dashes become stronger, but lowering the movement speed, the movement speed itself is you already feel it. Like you just feel like, especially playing Grux, you literally feel like you're taking forever to get to where you wanted to be. That's the feeling of the game, right? It might not be taking you forever. Like you are able to rotate. Like again, what I was saying earlier, rotation times, you're not being, it's not being affected by it if you're rotating, right? But you just feel it, when you're playing the game, it just feels like you're moving slow, and you don't want that feeling to be even worse. All right. And then Pinzo says, I think there are too many straight lines. You can see the duo/solo fog wall while standing in the mid lane. You don't have to rotate. You can just watch the other side. And that's something that I liked.
Look straight through the river. That's a good point.
Yep.
That's one thing I liked about Fault with their map. Like you literally go into the fog wall and you literally there's something right there. Like you all right, then you got to walk around and go around, like Raptor Camp or whatever. And Raptor Camp was really in the middle and you had to go around it. Which like this is still doing the offset. Like I think what League has the offset. You have your dragon or whatever on one side, then the other one on the other side. So it's still offset. Like so what Predecessor has that. Fault had more of like everything's in the middle, and it's equal ground for Orb Prime and Fangtooth, but it still gave you things that it gave you it took away sightlines, is what Pinzo's saying, and I agree with that. And I also say, like, there's a lot of people that are complaining right now the jungle itself, it's just too blah. Like there literally is like everything's just like right here in these like perfect. All right, this triangle. Here's your red buff 5-man camp, 2-man camp. All right, and it's like,
let me jump in on that one.
Yeah,
I propose that they should take verticality a little bit broader, but not the way that they're doing it, because their instance of verticality right now are legend, right?
Right.
I think they did a beautiful thing where red buff is significantly higher than the other two camps. But then the other two camps are on a perfectly flat plain ground that you can see from one side of the jungle to the next. Why don't they have red buff is at the top? The 2 camp is just a little bit lower off to the side. The 5 camp is just a little bit lower off to the side. More verticality throughout, as opposed to one ledge and then flat ground. Same example on the laning, right? Why is it that from duo lane to duo lane, we literally have a hill in front of us to add verticality? That's not too much use of verticality. A good example would have been back in the Monolith side, right? On the Monolith days, the strong side jungle was literally an uphill battle. You had to go up the hill past the river. The weak side jungle was downhill. They could implement something like that, right? Like maybe vice versa. Like if you have the strong side jungle, red buff is here, your jungler's closer the majority of the time, maybe make that downhill to where, hey, we have to fight uphill. We have to aim uphill a little bit, but that's also because we have easy access to the jungle. Like, why not implement more verticality as far as to the actual geometry of the entire environment, as opposed to being like, hey, we added a little hill in between that you can drop off. That's lazy verticality. And I don't mean to disrespect the developers, because they're doing a great job, as far as everything, right? But they could take it to the next level. Mid lane, to be an example, you have these 2 little ledges perfectly aligned with each other and facing right on, right? What if they were, instead of 2 towers perfectly in front of each other, what if they're staggered a little bit, like a little bit more, right? And what if the lower point was actually more centered towards the middle, and then the outer point that's closer to whatever jungle might be on that side, maybe that ledge is a little bit higher. So now the only way to get up there is with a nice substantial leap, blink, etc. Like you got to aim it a little bit higher to get on that ledge, but you also lose line of sight, so maybe a basic attack can't hit you as easy there. Like they don't have to be 2 perfectly level planes that you stand on. It could be one a little bit higher than the other, add a little bit more terrain to it, you know? Just kind of throwing it out there as opposed to saying we added a ledge that is our verticality. Would that be too much to ask?
No, I think I think they need to take advantage of the verticality, right? That's the one thing that we have going away from League of Legends, Smite, any MOBA that we're competing against. That's the one advantage we have, right? Smite is a 3D MOBA, right? But you don't have much verticality with it, right? There's little things that you can do. I think Thor jumps up in the air and comes down with his ultimate, right? So there is verticality in the game, but it's not utilized, right, as much, besides certain animations that you're able to do. Like, this is a game you actually can aim up, you can aim down, you can do, like, this is thing, like, they need to take advantage of that more than what they have. So I agree with that. I think even Fox McCloud said bridges between jungles would be nice to have again. Something. I mean, I don't know if I want that little rocket boost thing, like the
mini jump pad going
the
from
mini jump
pads
to
weak.
I don't want that necessarily, but like something, maybe a little from, like, because right now you can go up on those little platforms in mid lane, right? Maybe have that little platform kind of extend out a little further, right? Maybe you can go a little branch or something you kind of go out on, or right, you can't, to help you kind of jump with the rest of the way across. If you want to be a jungler and you want to kind of go across and not be seen by the minions with your pathing, so you can go across that and jump across and then not get seen by the minions or whatever. That way you can still keep your secrecy as a jungler, for a little bit, unless there's obviously somebody in lane. That's a different situation, but just an option. But also just adds a little verticality, and it's like, oh man, there's a jungler, but there's somebody running across the, I don't want to say, to piss the choice off, but Wukong running across the fucking branch when we run across it. So, holy shit, there goes a monkey. What's going on?
I'm getting Vietnam flashbacks right now. Now, let me derail this just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of building off of Pinzo's idea of having more curvature to the river. So you can't see either of the lanes like directly. You won't be able to have that line of sight, but also adding a river creep that
like the scuttle
patrols back and forth, like the scuttle, like having an extra. I just feel like there's not enough in the jungle, even though like people, they're starting to get their pathings down. Like obviously Crashy's like got like multitudes of videos on like what really good pathing in the jungle right now is. But if we add that little bit of randomness, because you don't know exactly where it is, it's kind of walking back and forth, it does a little bit something different. Yes, Pinzo says yes, please, more mid-map objectives. I think that would be just a fantastic addition. I don't know if it would just be like one that walks all the way across, or obviously like one on each side that just kind of patrols back and forth.
He says more mid-map OBJ. That's Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously.
I had to go.
I've heard that name before. I don't know. There's nothing to fight over at the beginning of the game. Jungler just clears. Make every other river buff a small raptor that just gives gold experience or something. I don't know. But I like that. I like the thought of just having one more kind of random creep to kind of give that bit of spice in the middle of the match.
Now, would one more be a better fix, or would just actually giving a little bit more life and sustain to the river buff that's there? Because early game, it's 2 shots. Late game, it's 1 shot, right? There isn't much dynamic to it besides who gets there first,
Yeah.
Maybe adding more life to that, turning that into, have the bug flying around. Maybe that's where it spawns, but maybe it flies back and forth and it has a little bit more sustain to it, for example. Maybe you need your jungler to actually kill it early game. Like, I just add some more life to it as opposed to just adding an extra.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that with Fault's, it didn't attack, but Fault's little, the mid buffs and the solo lane buff and the
their shrines,
dual lane, the shrines, that's what we're called. Thank you. The shrines, you had to do some damage to that shit. Like, you're using abilities on this stuff, But it could also, I mean, with the river buffs here we have in Pred, they give you mana back anyway. So using your abilities on it, you're doing it already. But you could just drop one ability on it, just already instantly got it, right away. After being like level 3, you can one shot it with your ability pretty much. So adding some life to it to make it a more of a gamble. Right now we're doing that with the solo lane and dual lane. Like you're going to get your buffs, so the gold buff or the green buff.
Yeah, it takes a little bit. We got to fight it.
Yeah, but then you're actually engaging. The other laner is coming up, and it's like now you're like, all right, now I got to time my last hit on this to be able to get it without them stealing it.
And then we wonder why the mid laner's ahead, because it's a one hit buff and they have 2 of them. It's like clink, done. Go ahead.
Yep.
I could definitely see that just naturally causing more rotations. I heard, because I don't really play a lot of League of Legends, but I heard that like one of the big things is that you really want your support. Wait, no, sorry, this is Dota. You really want your support to be roaming, because you want them to be in all these different places, roaming around. Now, if we have these objectives that are a little harder to kill, take a lot longer, it's just going to naturally cause these team fights to happen in the river a little bit more. So you're going to start seeing off lane not be in an island as much, because they're going to have to rotate into the river to help out a jungler get the mid laner the buff in the river. You'll see the support start to rotate into the river a little bit more. It is going to be a bigger rotating game. It is going to add a lot of that macro possibility into the match. So I think that would be really awesome, but I still think it would be like you keep your 1 to 2 hit mana bugs that give a little bit of experience, but then add that extra objective that is roaming a little bit at kind of like at a later date, like a later time, 5 minutes in, you get it starts to come out of like crawl out of a cave or something in the river, and then it starts doing its little patrol back and forth. And then you start, 5 minutes in, the offlaner's like, oh shoot, I got to rotate into the river. Here comes the big team fight, and it's just going to happen.
Hey, I'm all about it. I'm all about it for sure. I think they need to start adding. They need to start bringing some of their own IPs in as well with these camps. And I think it's going to help a lot of new junglers out by changing up the camps and not just be a 5-man, 3-man, a 5-man, 2-man, 4-man, 3-man camps. Because you actually get more XP with the 2-man camp than you do with the 5-man camp. Like that's just really confusing. Like that, I kill more things, I get less XP. It doesn't make sense to me. So I think that would be something that to help another jungler out, or the new junglers out. You just kind of change up the camps, and it's like, hey, I know that if I go to, I don't know, the yellow bug by on the right of my red buff, that's going to give me more money, But if I go to the the blue bug or whatever, that's going to give me more XP or whatever. It just needs to bring in their own IP as these little minion camps or whatever, these jungle camps. And it's going to add a little more variety, add a little more spice to the game than it just being, its little situation.
Yeah, so I mean, we're coming up on the time frame, right about that 2-hour mark. Anything else you guys want to add as far as like map talks or Zygo or anything like that?
Yes. Make the minions walk a little bit slower. Just a little bit slower. So that walk a little bit slower, have a little bit more health, so that when mid lane does do that rotation,
wouldn't walking slower mean that they can get back faster? Because they're taking longer.
Rotating. The
minions walking faster would be more of a punish. Because that means they get under tower faster. They do damage faster. As opposed to, them taking longer and be like, surprise, I'm back in time.
Right. I had a thought, and I thought it was cool. And I went for it.
I went, and I appreciate you showing the initiative to throw out ideas and everything. Because again, no disrespect to some people in the past, but we have had people that are a little bit on the shy side and are afraid to bring out talking points and shit. So we appreciate you being here and the amazing conversations that we've had. You're welcome back anytime, homie. Unless there's something that you guys want to add.
There's one thing I want to. It doesn't have to be. It's not going to be a long conversation, but we do know that the next patch is a mid laner. We don't know who it is. I want your guys' thoughts and chat. Jump in here too, even if you're watching on YouTube. Jump in here. Let us know who your thoughts are on this mid laner. What mid laner do you think they're adding to the game next?
I have no fucking clue, bro.
The ones we're missing is Morgesh, Iggy and Scorch, and Wraith. Wraith is Wraith the ADC?
Wraith was a carry that was used main and mid, but Zinx technically was a mid that was used solo.
See, I thought Zinx was a solo laner.
Zinx could be a mid laner because they might change her completely.
And I feel like I'm missing somebody. I could be wrong, but I think those are your main ones, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
So out of those three, we're gonna put those three up there. We'll put.
Well, and let's be mindful, it's not out of
Iggy.
The realm of possibility that they might completely change a character and be like, "Hey, this character is now a mid laner." Could you imagine that they brought back Terra and they're like, "Terra is now a mid laner. Here's what we changed." Right, the first melee mid laner. Ability focus damage and like, you know what I'm saying? Like they'd easily could do some crazy shit.
I've converted to an off lane main and you take my girl and you make her a mid laner. I'd be pissed.
Aurora was a mid laner. Thank you, Doinks.
Oh, there we go. I knew I was missing somebody. All right. Yeah. So those three. Yeah. That's Morgesh, Iggy, and Aurora. Out of those three, who do you think it is?
It's gotta be Morgesh. She's just so easy. I think so. She's just so easy to implement. She wouldn't really like shake too much up. She's another easy champ to pick up and do.
I would believe you if Greystone were already in the game, because Omega Studios does not lean towards easy characters. They want to evolve those easy characters. Like for them, it's like, nah, too easy. We need more identity. So I actually think they would, if it were Morgesh, they would do it because they spice her up and change quite a bit.
Yeah. And add some more skill expression into her kit.
That's why I think if it were her. But because Aurora can be mid, solo, and jungle, because of her diversity, I think it might be Aurora. Actually, come to think of it.
Now the theme doesn't mean shit, because we saw that from last year's theme when they brought in Shinbi, which meant nothing to the situation,
like,
right?
What's the current theme? Ascension, is it?
Ascension, right?
Yeah.
Ascension. So, which phase doesn't even fit this one, because she's not ascending to anything in that. But anyway, so she's our, but so maybe the other ones do fit, because Shinbi was the only one who didn't fit in the last one. So if phase is the only one that doesn't fit this one, the other ones do fit. And you have like, all right, so the two offlaners that are coming up in June, or the possible two offlaners, would be Greystone or Kwang in that situation, right? Kwang, all of his abilities are heavenly something, right? So that's obviously Ascension. But then you have Greystone's ultimate that obviously goes there.
Oh my gosh, Doinks just said it's going to be the bear for sure. He's going to ascend. Like, you imagine they may turn the bear into a mid lane.
You could.
My God.
The bear could be all right. But so Morgesh, her ability obviously ascends up and then comes down on you, right? So that's so Morgesh has the ability. There really isn't much ascension with Iggy. And if we're talking about Aurora, she does have the ability where she's able to make that wall, right? So, but overall, if it's following the theme,
she backflips, gets a little bit of verticality.
Is it her ultimate, or is it that
was her right?
Her shield.
Oh no, you're right. Her statue, which was just like a normal,
yeah.
The statue,
yeah. So I'm going with Morgesh. That's what I'm going with. Just because the ultimate going up and sending up. That's what my think is Morgesh.
I really don't like the fact that they're not sticking to themes.
Yeah, the thematics are pretty bad in that situation.
Yeah, like they had that shit on point last season with, the Vampire Hunter, Revenant, the Countess, and Shinbi, right?
Yeah.
Like, definitely kind of weird there. And then Ascension, we're going to start with phase. I guess the argument could be made, you ascend into the air and get pulled to safety.
Okay.
Maybe,
No.
maybe, right?
No.
Right?
I think Phase was just a community thing.
Yeah,
I think
it was the vote.
That's all that was.
It was the vote.
So they just kind of lost out on their theme with the community picking Phase. That's what I think.
But correct me if I'm wrong. The options were Phase, Greystone, Quang.
Wrong. Yeah.
All of them involve some sort of, hey, I'm going to lift up or land somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Quang technically comes from the heavens, lands on his sword. Yeah. Greystone has his ultimate. So I think in a way they picked those because they all kind of fit Ascension. We just ended up picking the one that fitted the least.
Big Doink brings up a good point, actually. In their PS5, you can go put on the PS5 wish list. Yeah. Aurora is on that picture.
Is she?
So is that a tease to the possible mid laner?
Confirmed. Hire
Did
Big
they
Doinks.
leak?
Confirmed. That's it.
They leaked.
It'll be Aurora until somebody changes my mind.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up on this name, but Tabasha. So pretty sure they said the theme is based around their original character, not everyone. So the Ascension side of it could be their original Shield character that we know that's happening in July.
Yeah, some sort of majestic character. I'm telling you, it's got to be connected to like the Greystone universe or some shit like that, with a shield like that and Ascension.
Could be
like Sereth, Greystone, some sort of holy armor knight sort of vibes, whatever. That'll be cool.
I feel it.
All right, we think it's Aurora. Change our minds in the comments below.
Morgash.
Aurora all day. So thank you so much, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and do our little outros, same order that we introduce ourselves. Tell people where they can find you, what projects have you got going on down the road that they can check, and a little bit of a message to either the community or the devs. Your choice. Go for it.
Or both.
Volcano Lostos. So sup everybody, my name is Choice Please and I'm on the Predcast. Pretty stoked about it. You can follow me everywhere at Choice Plays. I'm literally on basically every single platform ever as Choice Plays. I don't have a ton out there, but hey, PCC, don't forget Prime Championship Circuit. Get your teams ready. We are only accepting 16 teams. I probably should have thrown that out there before, but we are accepting 16 teams into our next event, which is June 3rd for the group stage and June 17th for the main event. So get ready for that. Follow us over at Prime Championship Circuit on Twitch and follow our social medias, get into our Discord, all that fun, super cool stuff. To the devs, thank you so much for listening to me for the replay mode. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm sorry I'm sending you so many giant paragraphs, but I really love the replay mode. I really love this game, and I really want to showcase the top talent in this game in the best way possible. I love you guys. That's me.
I see. Appreciate you being here, homie.
Really? Yes. Huge shout out to Choice coming in clutch, helping us out here with this, coming on here. It was great. I don't say this much, but as an Ohio State fan, you are, I'd still appreciate you coming here and having a good conversation. It was great having you on. Like you jumped in, you had great input, and it's actually, I want to point this out. You had great input for somebody who is more of a viewer in this situation. You do play the game, but you don't get much time to do it because you're doing so much behind the scenes with PCC and stuff like that. So you're more of a viewer in that situation, and you still had some great input and great thoughts in the game. So that to me is awesome. So greatly appreciate it again.
Thank you guys so much for having me on, for reals. I really appreciate this.
Not a problem. As for the community though, the Predcast, the schedule is going to change. Right now we're doing it on a Wednesday. I think we're going to try to keep the Wednesday theme. My daughter has softball literally Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. So like the Tuesday night situation, which we were trying to do with the patches, we got to try to adjust that, and we're going to try to hit some Wednesdays here now. So stay tuned with that. If you're watching them live on Twitch, if you're watching them on YouTube, they're just going to be uploaded probably a day later now because we're doing them a day later live. So just to update there. And then for myself, I am grinding the off lane role now, trying to get better with that. And so again, I've shouted out earlier at the beginning but Joey, yours truly, appreciate you, and Zygor, appreciate you for those VOD reviews. Definitely helped me out And you guys can come see me test those out on my Twitch at the Bearded Wolverine.
Spicy. And worth mentioning as far as the Predcast goes, everybody, it's probably a little bit on the better side. Us moving it to Wednesdays because we actually get a day to test the patch out, as opposed to before. Literally, we like half of us would come home from work, be like, yo, I turned on the game and went into AI mode. That's all I got, like 10 minutes before the Predcast started. So at least it gives us a little bit of wiggle room on that side, to be able to at least provide a little bit more insight instead of just speculating. And besides that, again, my name is Windu, also known as Windu the Maze. I basically have been focusing a ton lately on my new Star Wars oriented channel that I made on the side. So yeah, shout out to the Mandalorian helmet. I gotta get me one of those, by the way. I might actually have you get it and then send it to me. But yeah, just been focusing a little bit on that because it's always been a passion of mine, but never really went too far into it. Bought myself a fucking custom lightsaber, did a review on it and everything. Y'all go check that shit out. But yeah, and then besides that, we're gonna keep doing these Predcast videos. We really do hope that you guys enjoy them. Again, we try to keep them as orientated towards Predecessor, the progression, give constructive feedback and whatnot. We do kind of veer a little bit off the path sometimes, but we appreciate you guys being here along for the show, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.